Lightning and the thunder.
Woo!
But after all these years, I'm still scared of thunder.
It's time for Middays with Thunder with Mitch Nelles, broadcasting live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Don't be scared of thunder. There's just a little drizzle outside. It's high 60s today in southeastern Wisconsin. It's cloudy, but don't be scared of thunder. There's nothing to be scared of here. You might have a bad take, and it might be weak sauce, and I might make fun of you for it, but don't be scared about that. Lean into it. Do better. Try harder. My name is Mitch Nelles, a.k.a. Thunder. This is Middays with Thunder here on 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey and iHeart app. Great job by our friends Mason Crosby and Tommy Wirtz. 9 to 11, the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. They always do an awesome job, and it is great to be here today on this Wednesday. I'm here with the gentle giant. That's right. He is Charlie Usen. Good morning, Charlie.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. I saw earlier today that I think it's Ruthie at the zoo is doing all right, in case you didn't know anything about that.
Yes,
the elephant that fell over. So Another gentle giant wanted to bring that up. She's doing all right.
Ruthie apparently has very bad arthritis. Ruthie is older than Mason Crosby, younger than me. I believe Ruthie is 44 years old. For those of you who are following along this story at the Milwaukee County Zoo, Ruthie fell over and they needed like some cranes and some scoopers to help her up with her arthritis in her advanced age. Are you an elephant guy, Charlie?
I'm just an animal guy. Like, I love the zoo.
Right.
I try to go at least once every summer just to hang out, So I'm a big animal guy.
Nice. I like that. And our zoo is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The Milwaukee County Zoo is absolutely one of the best in the country. It is fantastic. Whenever they do zoo a la carte or zoo all the where they serve food and all that stuff. I know they have a big annual gala there. That's a big deal. The zoo ball or whatever it's called. I've been there once. Hint, hint, if anybody knows important people and want to invite me. Mrs. Thunder and I always looking for an excuse to dress up. So we will accompany you and we won't embarrass you. We might not bid on like the big money stuff, but we are big fans of the Zoological Society that runs the nonprofit arm of our zoo. This is Middays with Thunder here on The Fan. And we've got Spike Eskin from WIP in Philadelphia coming up in the second segment of the show. Of course, the Brewers are facing the Phillies today. Game 2 of a 3-game set after losing game 1 on Monday, 10-8. Game 2 tonight, Jose Quintana against Aaron Nola. Hopefully Nola doesn't find his stuff today because we could use an easy one. We could use Jose Quintana, goes 6 innings, gives up 2 runs, and we just pile on Aaron Nola. Aaron Nola has not been good this year, and since he came back from injury, I think Philly is hoping that at some point he will get back to good, especially with the news that Zach Wheeler, their Cy Young candidate, is now on the 60-day injured list, out for the rest of the year. That hurt my fantasy team. I got to be honest, Charlie. That did not help my fantasy team. I did have Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, that's a little unfortunate. He was doing really good too, but who it does help is Freddie in the Cy Young race, maybe a little bit.
It does help.
So there's
Freddie.
some positives there.
And I think the fun thing to do when we talk about this, of course, is we go to our friends at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, because, of course, all of our betting odds are courtesy of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. So I just click on MLB and I click on futures. And I know Paul Skeens is like a huge favorite. Like what are we talking about here? You look at the Cy Young. Paul Skeens is minus 10,000. Christopher Sanchez is plus 1,500. I believe he is a Philly who we are avoiding this weekend, right? This week, right?
Yep.
We do get Ranger Suarez, though, tomorrow, who's pretty good. And then Freddie is third. He's at plus 5,000. I think Freddie would have to do in September what he did in August in order to jump into that conversation. Congratulations from Middays with Thunder, from Mitch Nelles and Charlie Usen. They are in order to our friends on Brewers Boulevard and Miller Park Way and the corner of I-94 and whatever that junction is.
I'm not old enough to know roads yet, dude.
Yeah, exactly. At AmFam Field, Bryce Durang is your National League Player of the Month for August, and Freddie Peralta is your National League pitcher for the month of August. See, this is where we should have that sound effect. Like, I know we don't really do.
We got an applause.
Oh wait, we do have applause. I got to go to Wisconsin Sports Daily. Applause.
There you go.
I kind of want the horns and the but I'll take the applause. Congratulations to Bryce Turang and Freddie Peralta. We will get to them in a second. Lots going on the show today. It is hump day. Mike, hump day. Get your camels out. If you do that sort of thing. Because it is hump day. Camels, llamas, I don't know. Who's got one hump, who's got two? Do you have any idea?
I think aren't camels the only one with humps? Llamas don't have humps.
They don't have humps at all?
I don't think so. I think you made that up.
I need to Google that. But it is hump day. The Packers are back at practice. Matt LaFleur is scheduled to be at the podium around 11:10. It was approximate. The team obviously practicing today, so all eyes will be on Micah Parsons. All eyes will be on Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden, Jordan Love, and everybody else. Elton Jenkins, I think, dealing with a little thing, so we'll see what's going on with him. We will listen to Matt LaFleur in the noon hour, in the 12 o'clock hour. We will chime in and hear what he had to say today. And yesterday, we did our who are your top 5 Brewers right now? And we didn't, I'll put it up on social media, but we didn't focus on it. We just got kind of a base foundation for that moving forward as we approach the final month of the season. We're going to be focusing more on it next week and the weeks to come. But today is who are your top 5 Packers? So whether you want to tweet in at the Fan Milwaukee or at Thunder MKE, whether you want to shoot those messages to the Facebook pages at the Fan Milwaukee or at Thunder MKE. Or if you want to find us on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text line, 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. If you want to call in with your top 5 Packers, 1 through 5 ranked, go ahead. If you want to leave them on our text line, if you want to text that in from your phone, you just pick up your phone like I'm doing right now. You can see me on YouTube. I got my phone and I hit and I hit 414-677-1250 and there it goes. And it comes right to my computer. It's amazing what technology can do these days. Your top 5 Green Bay Packers. Charlie and I will get into that more in the 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock hours as well. But before we get to Spike Eskin from WIP in Philadelphia to talk about not only the Philadelphia Phillies who are in town, but the Philadelphia Eagles who kick off the season tomorrow night against the Dallas Cowboys, the defending Super Bowl champions. So we've got a lot to talk about with Spike. I just want to run through these numbers because what Bryce Turang and Freddie Peralta did in the month of August is absolutely unbelievable. What Freddie did is just is truly unreal. What Bryce did was fantastic and next level. But what Freddie did is just like, so Bryce Turang had 37 hits in the month of August. I know, Charlie, you're a recent graduate of grade school, but how many days are in August?
31.
Okay.
Yes.
And I don't know math too good, but is averaging more than 1 hit a day really good?
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
I feel like that's pretty solid, right?
Pretty solid, yeah.
Yeah. So 37 hits. He scored 23 runs. He had 24 RBI, 6 doubles, a triple, and 10 home runs. I don't think the over-under for Bryce Turang for the entire season was 10 home runs. If you looked at his numbers before the season started, and he hit 10 home runs in the month of August. This is absolutely unbelievable. He had 7 through April, May, June, July. He had 7 through 4 months of the season, and then had 10 in the month of August. Unbelievable. You know, the one thing I'm a little disappointed in Bryce about, you know, the one thing, 3 steals. Come on, Bryce. Like, I'm you know, I know you're like the best power hitter in the history of like second baseman, especially on the Brewers now. But 3 steals, like you're my steal guy. You're not my power. No, I'm just messing with you, Bryce. 3 steals is fine. It was a little interesting. I was interested to see that because let's see, 17 of his 37 hits were extra base hits, so still 20 singles, and he still had a bunch of walks. So I was a little surprised. Only 3 steals. He hit 343 in the month of August with an OPS of 1,093. For those of you who don't really know OPS, 720 is about the league average. 800 is really good. 900 is all-star. 1,000 is MVP. Like right now for the season, my guess is Shohei and Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh are probably the only 3 players in Major League Baseball who have an OPS over 1,000. I don't even know if they have OPSs over 1,000 for the season. I'm checking out stats right now. Let's see batting leaders. Let's click on OPS. I mean, Aaron Judge is at 1,100. Shohei's at 998. George Springer's at 946. Kyle Schwarber's at 943. Cal Raleigh's at 933. So there's one player over 1,000, and he's over 1,100. Aaron Judge is absolutely unbelievable. Bryce Terang in the month of August was Aaron Judge. He was MVP quality, and that's why you win Player of the Month in the National League. You ready to go inside radio here, Charlie, real quick?
Let's hear it, yeah.
Can you text Spike Eskin real quick and just remind him that he's up? I meant to tell you that he needs a text that before, but I figured we'd go inside radio. Like, who, nobody mind.
Yeah.
Is anybody mad?
I don't think so.
414-677-1250. Call in if you're mad that we just went inside radio. That's how we do it. We text our guests beforehand. Just remind them they're coming on. Make sure they're all set for it. All right. Here's what's really unbelievable. And this is unbelievable. In the month of August, Freddie Peralta gave up 1 run. Not 1 run per game. Not 1 run per 9 innings. In 28 innings, he gave up 1 run. And it was actually his first game of August. It was August 5th. It was in Atlanta. Eli White, who I'll be honest, is kind of a bum. I mean, he's okay. I don't know. I don't love Eli White. I think he's more of a speed guy than a power guy, though. Eli White hit a solo home run off of Freddie Peralta. And since then, 6 innings against the Pittsburgh. 6 innings against the Pittsburgh. 6 innings against the Pittsburgh. No earned runs. 6 innings against the Chicago Cub. No earned runs. 5 innings against the San Francisco Giant. No earned runs. 6 innings against the Toronto Blue Jay. No earned runs. So I got to figure out when he gave up that run against Eli White. Let's see. Let's look at the he gave it up in the 4th, and then he pitched. All right, let's go full by. Let's get the actual numbers. So he gave it up with how many out? Bottom of the 4th. Let's see. Struck out, homer, walk, and then he got with 2 outs. So then he got 1 out, and then he got 3 more outs in the bottom of the 5th. So 1 1/3. All right, 1 1/3 innings against the Braves. Then 6. So that's 7 1/3. Then 6 more. That's 13 1/3. Then 5 more. That's 18 1/3. Then 6 more. That's 24 1/3. He's gone 24 1/3 innings without giving up a run. Charlie, again, I don't know much about ball. I don't know about baseball. I don't know about football. I know it's drizzling and it's gray outside. Is 24 1/3 innings of not giving up a run, is that good?
From my young experience, Mitch, yeah, it's pretty good.
That's what I'm looking for. Because I know I can tell you from an old experience, but I just wanted to make sure that also from a young experience. Freddie Peralta went 4-0 in 5 games in the month of August. He had a .32 ERA. In 28 innings, he struck out 34 and only walked 12. He gave up 1 solo home run. He only gave up 11 hits total in 28 innings in the month of August. He gave up, let's see, and you'll remember, everybody remembers, those 4 starts. Actually, 5, what was it, 4 starts? 4 or 5 starts after the All-Star break. Didn't look great. He shut out the Dodgers, then pitched roll against Washington. Then against the Dodgers and Miami and Chicago went 5 innings, 4 innings. And then even only went 5 innings against Atlanta. But in his last 4 starts, he's gone 6, 5, 6. Would we like him to go more than 6? Yes, we all agree. We would like Freddie Peralta to go more than 6 innings. We all agree with that. But he's getting to 6. Pitch count, 89, 95, 96, 95. Can he go 1 more? He probably can. If they need him to go 1 more in September or especially October, he probably can. but they don't really, they won 14-0 against Pittsburgh. He doesn't need to stay in that game. They won 7-0 against the Cubs. Now, the San Francisco game that they lost 7-1. My computer might restart here. So this might be really interesting. San Francisco, they lost that game 7-1. That was a debacle of a bullpen game. And it was a little bit of a debacle because he only went 5 innings there. And that was kind of not exactly what they were looking for. But then he bounces back 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts against the Blue Jays in that 7-2 victory. So 1 run. Unbelievable. So we looked at our top 5, and we'll get to this later in the show as well. Our top 5 Brewers right now, with Jackson Chourio 1, Bryce Terang was 2nd, Christian Yelich was 3rd, William Contreras was 4th, and Willie Peralta. Wow. And Freddie Peralta was 5th. That was your top 5 this week. That'll probably be different next week. We'll get more into that. And your top 5 Packers. Throw them in on the talk and text line, 414-677-1250. That's the Nicolay Law Fan talk and text line, 414-677-1250. But Spike Eskin, eye on Philadelphia, eye on the Phillies, eye on the Eagles. He's in the middle of the sports world right now, just like we are here in Wisconsin. Spike Eskin is next right here on Middays with Thunder. This is Middays with Thunder here on the Fan, 1250 AM, 1057 FM, free on the Odyssey app, free on the iHeart app. And then after the show, like you can do with the Mason Crosby show, wherever you listen to your podcast, you can also listen to the replay of this show and his show and Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. My name is Mitch Nelles, aka Thunder. It is my honor and privilege to be here with you on the Fan as we bring you the best in local programming from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And joining us now from WIP in Philadelphia, he is on every afternoon and he joins us now. Spike Eskin. Spike, thanks so much for jumping on the show.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's jump right into it. The Philadelphia Phillies are here in Milwaukee. Crazy game on Monday, day off, where I assume everybody just went golfing or went on brewery tours yesterday here in Milwaukee. But Phillies have the second best record in the National League to the Brewers. How in overall are you feeling about the Philadelphia Phillies right now?
I'd say pretty good, as good as you could feel after losing their best pitcher and probably best player a couple weeks ago, and with how last season ended. I think the issue last year was they got off to a really hot start first 2 months of the season, and then basically from All-Star break on, they were a 500 or below 500 team, and you could feel it coming toward the end of the year. You sort of knew what was going to happen, even though the record looked good. And they seem to be flipping it a little bit this year. They took a much bigger swing at the deadline with Duran, and they had a good August. So every team in the National League, every team in baseball has some sort of flaw. They're not flawless, but feeling pretty good overall.
How ridiculous is Kyle Schwarber right now?
Yeah, it's crazy too, because when he hit home runs a few years ago, but he also hit a $198 or something. Yeah. So for him to, and I actually think physically he's gotten in much better shape. He's not a speed demon by any means, but he's lost a few pounds and he looks a little leaner, and he is just locked in, man. You want to talk about a contract year? He is making sure he will get every dollar possible this offseason. This season, he's been great.
No doubt. He is fun to watch. And I know that game he had against the Braves where he had the 4 home runs, and then he comes up and bats against like their backup shortstop. And you knew he just wanted it. He just got under it a little bit. But that was a fun moment there in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it was. And you sort of you knew going up against the position player that was going to happen. That was the one time he wasn't going to be able to hit a home run, was that one. Of course. And that guy must have been throwing, if I remember, he's throwing balls in the upper 40s.
Yeah, he was not throwing hard.
No. Yeah. It was a great moment, though. Especially it came after just the worst series of the year against the Mets. They got swept at Citi Field, and then they come home, scored 19 runs, and he hits 4 home runs. So it was a nice little palate cleanser from the Mets series.
Absolutely. We got Spike Eskin from WIP in Philadelphia here on Middays with Thunder. The fan guest hotline brought to you by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. So the Phillies won game 1 on Monday. Just a crazy game, back and forth. Brewers had the early lead. And we're here in Milwaukee trying to figure out the bullpen and what the best arms are going to be. You mentioned it with the addition of Duran. That's kind of settled things in your bullpen. But as we get into the last month of the season, what does Philly have to do right to make sure they keep the Mets at bay, which I feel like will be pretty easy because I'm not a believer in the Mets, but make sure you have an opportunity to challenge the Brewers and or make sure you keep that second spot, which does give you the bye in the playoffs.
I think their starters have thrown a lot of innings this year. And I think signing Walker Buehler, at least to stretch the starting rotation out a little bit, I think they'll go to a 6-man rotation for the final 3 weeks. I think getting the starters a little, forgetting about winning the division, which I agree with you, I think they'll do. I think preparing for the playoffs, I think getting the starters a little bit of a breather would be good. And then from a bullpen perspective, Orion Kerkering's a guy who has been really good all year and has not been good for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I think getting him on the right track. And then the lineup is as the lineup goes. They always seem to either it always seems to work or not work. Like,
Sure.
yeah, either the Phillies are a lineup that you're terrified of, or like they won't get a hit till the sixth inning. So, in fact, that's what I thought we were going to get on Monday.
Right. It looked that way through 4. It was 5-1. Harper hit a solo home run, but that was it.
Yep. And the Phillies are not usually good against, like, if they're facing a rookie pitcher they've never seen before, you can almost guarantee they're not getting a hit for the first 4 or 5 innings.
Yep.
But I don't know what they can do about the offense. I think they just have to really cross their fingers they're hot at the right time. I think making sure the starters have as much gas as they can have going into the playoffs, and getting the bullpen, getting everyone who you have any faith in as right as you can in the bullpen is probably their best bet.
And then from Philadelphia, what do you see with this Milwaukee Brewers team? Like, I know, we often will say here in Milwaukee that we're disrespected and that nobody pays attention to Milwaukee. And that's fine. Listen, if the East Coast and West Coast want to just like fly over the middle of the country, we get that that's part of the deal. But I do feel like having the best record in baseball, we've seen whether it's on MLB Network or on ESPN or whatever, the coverage of the Brewers has ramped up at least a little bit. What do you see about this Brewers team that has gotten it to where it is? Is there respect for this Brewers team? Are people paying attention at all to the Brewers this year?
Oh, I think they are. I think that the difficulty is I think people have trouble because there's not players that they've heard of, right? Like from a star power perspective, I don't think the Brewers sit with the Dodgers or the Phillies or even the Padres, the Mets, blah, blah, blah. I think that the thing that worries me about the Brewers from a Phillies perspective is that the Phillies are not a particularly good fundamental baseball team, and they're a better defensive team than they used to be, but still wouldn't say very good. Yep. And the Brewers just constantly put pressure on those things. Yes. And I think like because they're always doing that, because they're always sort of putting you in a position to screw up. And if you have a team who's willing to screw up, which the Phillies are, that Bryson Stott error on Monday was just, Bryson Stott's a good defensive player, but it feels like the Brewers are always putting you in a position to have to make the right play, and the Phillies don't always make the right play, and the Brewers do. So I would be reasonably confident in a series. I'm not terrified of the Brewers or anything, but they do sort of, I think, have the kind of a team that can make the Phillies look bad in a 7-game series.
The way we say that, Spike, here in Milwaukee is that the Brewers make you play baseball. They make you play baseball for all 27 outs. They don't give up any outs. They could be down 7-1. They could be up 7-1. And more often than not, they're going to make you play baseball the entire game.
Yep, absolutely. Now, baseball many times just comes down to, in the playoffs, the biggest payrolls. I mean, that like more times than not, it comes down to it. But it doesn't come down to that for every series, right? It might come down to that for, you might see the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series, but remember, it wasn't the big payroll that won every single round. So and you can't win it. You don't get runs for spending $300 million. Like you can, the Phillies can spend all they want. They still have to produce. So I wouldn't be, basically I want to play anybody but the Mets in the playoffs at this point, as much as you don't believe in them. And I don't think they're very good either. They sort of have the Phillies number. So I'll feel okay about any series against any team that isn't the Mets.
Gotcha. That's fair. Spike Eskin, WIP. He's on in the afternoons in Philadelphia. We're talking Phillies and Brewers game 2 tonight at 6:40 here in Milwaukee. Game 3 tomorrow. It's a 3:10 mid-afternoon, kind of a weird one. I think it's because school started already, because usually the afternoon games are 1:10, but I think they backed it up a couple hours because school has started, so more of the kids can either get to the game or watch the game. And I'm sure you'll be watching the game tomorrow, but I'm sure you'll also be a little busy thinking about your opener tomorrow night, as it's Cowboys and Eagles. I got to say, like everybody around the NFL should be jealous of whoever hosts that game, that opening Thursday night game, because it means you are the defending champions. How you feeling about the Eagles this year?
Cautiously optimistic. Mm-hmm. Like there's they have a couple of holes on defense because of guys that they ended up letting go, but it everybody has a couple of holes somewhere.
Sure.
I think the thing that you worry about is the thing that you really can't tell until you're halfway through the season is like, do these guys have it in them to do it again? There's a reason that most teams don't repeat. It's really, really hard. They were reasonably lucky with injuries last year. Saquon touched the ball almost 500 times last year. So, that running backs typically don't do great the year after that. So, but those are all things that we would have to see. I think by and large, like they're probably the most talented team in the league, or one of the few most talented teams in the league. So optimistic, but aware of what could be coming.
As Dallas comes in, I got to ask about the reaction to the Micah Parsons trade. We've all talked about it. Obviously, I was on the air. Sparky's our afternoon guy. He was on vacation last week. So, of course, I'm watching. Christian Yelich is up. The Brewers are down 6-4 in the bottom of the ninth. And Christian Yelich is up with 2 men on. And I'm like watching the TV. I'm like, man, this would be amazing. If Yelich could get a hit here. And then my producer, Charlie, says they made the trade. And I said, no, I didn't believe it. Like I literally, like I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, no, I don't believe you. Like, first of all, there's no way Dallas is trading him until next week at the earliest, but maybe even into the season. There's no way the Packers made the trade. Like, what are you? I mean, I was just totally shocked. Were you on the air at the time? What was your initial reaction?
Yeah, it was funny. We do a thing every year with the Eagles Autism Foundation, like a 2-day radiothon thing. Mm-hmm. And we were wrapping it up like with the executive director of the radiothon, like, getting the final tally, how much we raised. But my producer and co-host is in my ear, Jack, just saying, they trade Parsons. And so I'm like, I'm trying to be respectful and wrap up the radiothon in the right way.
I get that. Yep.
But then immediately, as soon as she gets up, we're like, all right, they trade Parsons. I think the initial reaction was to laugh at the Cowboys because they're a rival. But like, to me, it's like, I would rather see Micah Parsons on the less threatening Cowboys than on the more threatening Packers.
Yep.
To be honest, like Ike made the point yesterday. My co-host Ike was just like, well, you're playing the Cowboys twice a year every year, and you don't know that with the Packers. And maybe you'll play the Packers in the playoffs, and maybe you won't. But the Micah Parsons on the Cowboys, you could lose a game during the year that changes everything. He's like, I'd rather have him on the Packers. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For me, for this year, it's like the Packers were one of the couple of teams in the NFC that you worry about, and they added, one of the 4 or 5 best edge players in the NFL, maybe one of the 3 best. So glad the Cowboys don't have him. Wish they traded him to the Chargers or something, instead of the Packers.
Yeah, I think that's what that was one of the things that was so surprising to us is like, we didn't believe the Packers gave up a ton, 2 firsts and Kenny Clark. It's something, but it's certainly not as significant as we thought it would be. And like, couldn't the Patriots or somebody in the AFC have offered the same thing, which meant that Dallas got, I haven't watched the Cowboys documentary, but I know that Jerry Jones talks about it, and that loss to the Packers 2 years ago in the playoffs, where they got absolutely blown out at home, was one of the worst of his career. Like, how do you send this guy to Green Bay? Don't you try to make sure you send him to the AFC at a minimum?
It's so weird because he's not Luka, right? At all. But mm-hmm. like, I'm not a big Luka guy. So if you want to make the argument to me that his body's not going to hold up and capitalize now when he has the most value, I'll accept. I'll let you make that argument. What I won't let you make is the argument that all you needed to get was Anthony Davis and 1 first-round pick.
Exactly.
I could understand you're paying Dak Prescott, you're paying CeeDee Lamb. You can make the argument you should trade Micah Parsons to me. You can make that argument. You can't make the argument that you shouldn't have done it in March, and you shouldn't have gotten more than 2 first-round picks, and you shouldn't have sent them to not a divisional rival, but a rival nonetheless.
Absolutely a rival. Yep.
Yeah, it was really, to me, like, Jerry Jones has always sort of gotten away with all of this, the sort of mismanagement, the goofy stuff with players. To me, this signals that he might, that might be over, and it could be the beginning of a very long, 5 to 7 years for the Cowboys, I think.
Now, there has to be some level of you that's just like laughing at the Cowboys, though, right? Like, as an Eagles guy, like, it's fun. It's fun when the Cowboys are down, right?
Yes, of course. Now we talked a little bit about it yesterday that I don't want them to be too down because I do like the rivalry. And when one team's good, well, the Commanders weren't any good for years. We didn't hear anything from their fans ever. And then they were good last year, and that made it kind of fun to beat them. The Giants have been a disaster for a while. Before last year, the Commanders have been a disaster for a while. It just doesn't feel like the Eagles have any, like their natural division rivals have not been very threatening for a while. So, there's part of me that, yes, I laugh at them, but it's a little more fun when they're a little more threatening than I think they might be this year.
Spike Eskin joining us on Middays with Thunder. And Spike, I got to ask about A.J. Dillon. I know he's listed as third on the depth chart. We have an affinity for A.J. Dillon. He was the mayor of Door County, which is a popular tourist spot just north of Green Bay. Is he part of the mix this year? He did a lot with kids and like book readings and stuff like that. Is he become part of the team? Is he in the mix this year?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, they have a second-year player named Will Shipley, who I think will probably be the primary backup for Saquon. But if they're really going to get Saquon fewer touches this year, which I think they have to, probably have to use both guys. Okay. And Dillon looked good. In camp. So from all reports, I think, and it does seem like he is the spirit around him. It seems like he's a good guy. Seems like he wants to be integrated into Philadelphia. So it makes you nervous every time you hear about a neck injury. So I hope
it does.
But it does. As long as he stays healthy, I think he'll be around. I think you'll see him. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. His nickname here was Quadzilla because his quads are so crazy. And he wrote like a kid's book about like, a kid being bullied for their, and then like, and I was at a book reading with him probably just like a month before they announced he was out for the year last year. And I agree. Like he's one of those guys who like you're in the room with him and he's always got a smile on his face. And so I think he'll be, I know we heard a lot about how the Eagles were like a close knit team last year. And I would assume he would mesh in very well with that. So what is your expectation for the Eagles this year? Like, and is Philly, I mean, are people geared up for a run at the repeat? It's hard to win. It's hard to win one Super Bowl. It's even harder to win back to back. What are reasonable expectations for the Eagles this year?
I don't think it's reasonable to say I think they're going to win the Super Bowl again. I like that. That seems like it could happen, but I wouldn't project it to happen. I think a reasonable expectation is, hey, win 12 games, win the division, and then see what happens in the playoffs. See how healthy you are. See what's gone wrong, what's gone right. Those sorts of things. It's not much of a take, and it's like I guess it's just. I wouldn't bet on them winning the Super Bowl again. I just don't know the reason why they're not going to. I just know there are a lot of reasons why they wouldn't. So my, whether it's Saquon gets hurt, whether it's the defense, whether they can't figure out the edge and the cornerback and the safety thing because they've lost players there, whether it's just, they have a really tough schedule. If they were on the only reason the Giants have a tougher schedule than the Eagles is because the Eagles are on the Giants schedule and the Giants are on the Eagles schedule.
That's 2 games a year.
Yep. And it's like, it's a tough schedule. So I think if they can win the division, win 12 games, and then see what happens during the playoffs, I think is a reasonable expect. I don't think anybody's going to get mad if they don't win the Super Bowl again. I don't think anybody wants to get embarrassed in the first round by the Bucks again. But as long as we can avoid an embarrassing end of the season, I think it's a pretty reasonable. I think everybody would be pretty reasonable about it.
And talking about expectations, real quick, last thing for you, Spike. Here in Green Bay and here in Wisconsin, we're trying to figure out what does the Micah Parsons trade mean in terms of expectations, because people already thought the Packers were good, a playoff team. Maybe half a notch behind Detroit and a notch behind Philly, but Micah Parsons certainly makes that up. And so what I said the past couple of days is that I think this means that the Packers need to make a Super Bowl within the next 3 years. I don't know what it means about winning a Super Bowl because on any given Sunday, anything weird can happen.
Yeah.
But I think the expectation with Jordan Love improving, getting better, I think the expectation for this Packers team should be that they get to a Super Bowl in the next 3 years. Do you think that's fair?
Oh yeah, then why do you make the trade otherwise?
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
like
Exactly. Thank you.
you can't have a quarterback that you're confident in. Pay him $50 million. Trade for a defensive end. Pay that guy $47 million a year. And even last year, like we're considered in the mix. Like it's not like the Eagles beat the hell out of the Packers in that playoff game last year.
No, it was
I
it was a
mean,
decent game.
yeah. So yeah, I I think they're, getting to the Super Bowl is hard, all things considered, but I think that's an absolutely fair expectation after the Parsons trade.
Spike Eskin, afternoon host, WIP in Philadelphia. Well, if our baseball teams match up again in the playoffs, you know who I'll be calling. And I'm gonna wish the Phillies bad luck today and tomorrow, but good luck the rest of the way after that. And we'll talk to you down the line, Spike.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. That's Spike Eskin, WIP in Philadelphia. He's their afternoon host, and he joined us on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. And I think, sometimes, it's interesting to hear about what's going on with the Phillies and what's going on with the Eagles. But I think it's always important to ask, and like I did with him on both the Brewers and the Packers, like, what's that outsider's view on those teams? Like, what do Phillies, Dodgers, Mets, not Cubs necessarily, because Odyssey Chicago, what's up? You want some, come get some. But for everybody else, like, what do they think about the Brewers? How's that going? And then, of course, with the Packers and the Micah Parsons trade, we all know how excited we are. Like, we all know how excited we've been since Thursday at 4 p.m. But it's interesting to hear other people's takes that, yeah, the Packers really didn't give up that much for Micah Parsons. And yeah, it really does put them in the Super Bowl conversation.
The way I keep talking about that moment with people that are asking me about it because they know I'm here at the radio station, I just say that it was so cool, even though I'm not a Packers fan, to witness that because it was such a big moment just in NFL history to have a player that traded like that to have the Packers make a trade like that was just really precedented before since like 20 years ago. The Brewers are the number one team in baseball right now, and literally nobody saw that coming. Brian Kenny just put it on MLB Now yesterday that it is his number one surprise of the 2025 season is how good the Milwaukee Brewers are.
Gotta be.
And both these things are just, again, monumental points in Wisconsin sports history, and it's really cool to hear what other people have to say about witnessing that from the outside perspective.
We'll talk a little bit more about about our chat with Spike Eskin, but we are getting all the news from Matt LaFleur's press conference. We are seeing his comments about Micah Parsons and his availability on Sunday. So we're going to listen to Matt LaFleur right at the top of the 12 o'clock hour. So you're going to want to make sure you are glued to that to hear what he had to say just minutes ago at Lambeau as they get underway. Practice now underway for our Green Bay Packers up there in Green Bay. We'll pay attention to that on this Mike Hump Day. My name is Mitch Nelles, a.k.a. Thunder. This is Middays with Thunder on 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey app, live from the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'm the one that babies don't think. See, I ain't got no future or family tree, but I know what a prince of lover ought to be. I know what a prince of love. All right, I'm definitely have to go back on YouTube later and hear what that sounds like with no
I
music
think you
underneath.
did pretty good. I think you nailed it.
I did okay. This is Gin Blossoms, Two Princes. For those of you on YouTube who want to use your imagination for what music might actually sound like. My name is Mitch Nelles, aka Thunder. This is Middays with Thunder. Again, our thanks to Spike Eskin from WIP in Philadelphia for jumping on the fan guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. If you want to find Sparky, you can do it today. That's right. Sparky is on the road at the Broadhouse downtown this afternoon from 2 to 5. And you know who's on from 5 to 6?
Who's that?
Tommy Big Dub Wirtz.
Big Dub.
Yeah, he's the Big Dub because he's a big winner every day. Tommy Big Dub Wirtz. They're going to be at the Broadhouse downtown this afternoon. Sparky's there from 2 to 5. Tommy's there from 5 to 6:30. That's brought to you by Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea right here on 1250 M and 105.7 FM The Fan. Sun Cruiser, it's delicious. It's, I was at Stenny's last week and I can neither confirm nor deny, though for Sparky's sake, I will deny. No, in truth, I did not have a Sun Cruiser while I was on the radio, but I was down to 5. And so guess what I did?
Had a Sun Cruiser.
I had a Sun Cruiser because truth be told, I'd never had a Sun Cruiser before. And it was yummy. It was yummy. I have a feeling, Charlie, I don't know if this is true or not, but I have a feeling that you and I maybe drink a little differently.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Do you go home at night and have like one glass of brown?
I do not.
Yeah, you're not a bourbon or whiskey or scotch guy. Yeah, okay.
No,
so
I usually stay away from that. I'm a craft beer. I do seltzers and stuff.
Do you have
like
a
that.
beer?
Yeah, usually.
Do you ever have like with dinner or after dinner have a beer?
Yeah, I would say that. Not too often. I'm not like a big alcohol connoisseur, I guess.
Yeah. Do you on the weekend sometimes have like more than 2?
Yeah.
Okay,
I would say whenever I'm on the weekends, it's more than 2 if I'm going to drink. Yeah.
So we drink you drink like a 23-year-old.
Yeah.
And I drink like a 49-year-old. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. So I'd never had Sun Cruiser. I mean, I've had a lot of the different seltzers and some of the different iced teas before. And so, Sun Cruiser's on my, it was nice. It was a fun drink to have. I think actually it's a fun while the football game's on, because it's a fun daytime drink. I think it's a fun daytime drink. I think maybe with some of the sweeter drinks, I think that sweetness, at least for me, as you get older, it kind of sticks in your stomach later at night.
For me too.
Yeah.
Even when you're younger. Yeah, I get it. It's very light.
Yeah. So I was very happy with that. So go visit Sparky today. He'll be at the Broadhouse downtown from 2 to 5. Tommy will be there from 5 to 6:30. It is football season. College started last week. Pros are starting tomorrow night. And you know what that means? It means Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Play right now in Wisconsin. It's easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on all their stats. Tonight, I am locked in on BT. Bryce Tizzle, Bryce Terang in the house. I got my phone out right now. I got my Underdog app out right now, and I'm checking out what's going on with Bryce Terang, what his hires and lowers are, because I got a good feeling about him. I might actually match him up a little bit. You know who I like tomorrow night? I like Dak Prescott. I think the Cowboys are not really going to be able to run. I think they're going to need to pass the ball a lot. I like his passing yards. So I might do a Bryce Terang tonight, Dak Prescott tomorrow night, mix and match to win some. I don't know what the odds, what odds I'll get on that, but I might play that one just to get a nice, quick, easy winner.
I think it'll be a pretty solid one. I keep saying Dak Prescott's going to be a fantasy darling this year because their defense is not going to be good and they can't run the ball.
I have one league where I let it auto draft for me, and I got Dak Prescott and Kyler Murray, and I actually think both could be fantasy darlings this year. So I'm hoping somebody, like, they both have big weeks in week 1 and week 2, and I can trade them because I have no second running back. My auto draft gave me David Montgomery.
That's a little tough.
That is rough.
I mean, he's going to get the red zone touches at least.
He should.
Touchdown.
Yeah,
merchant.
I mean, I have
James Conner appeal.
Yeah, he could. So we will see. Download the Underdog app today and sign up with promo code ThunderMKE to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code ThunderMKE. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 or over and present in Wisconsin. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. I think we asked this question last week, but I got to ask it again, Charlie. How many fantasy teams you got?
I have 3. Yeah.
And you have one league that is supremely more important than the other two? Are they all equal in importance? How do you judge your leagues?
One's a dynasty league, and I take that one more seriously because I have more fun with the dynasty leagues.
Buddies, college buddies, high school buddies.
That one is high school buddies.
Okay.
And then my other 2 leagues that I'm in are just the regular one season fantasy. One of those is with Jack Pembroke and his boys. That one wasn't the biggest fan of my draft in that one.
Didn't invite me. Thanks, Jack.
You're just not cool enough, I guess.
Old. Just say old. So old. It's cool.
But that one, and then I have another one with my girlfriend's family, and that one she drafted the team, so I'm gonna have to.
Do you guys share a team?
We do.
Okay.
So she didn't want to do it alone, so I let her draft.
Do they take it seriously?
Some of them do.
Okay.
Her mom takes it very seriously, so that's our biggest competition.
Nice. Okay. I am also in 3 leagues. Let's see. What am I in? I'm in one league with a bunch of people from across the street, if I'm allowed to say that, a former workplace where I'm still in the league. And so actually it's become like, we started it years and years ago. So I feel like half the league are people who were like used to work there, now work other places. And, that's how that works, because welcome to the radio industry. I'm in one league that like my Big Rumble, like a friend of Big Rumble put together. So we're sharing a team there. And like, I don't know if we're really going to pay attention to it or not. And then I've got one other league, and I totally forget what. A buddy of mine, actually, a buddy of mine who's active in the service right now, and he's actually overseas. And like 3 or 4 of the 12 teams or 10 teams in this league are all like guys who are like literally like on missions right now.
Crazy.
Yeah. So we thank them for their service, but like we had to find a time that worked for like wherever you are in the world, and us schlubs in Milwaukee. Like there are like 6 schlubs in Milwaukee, and then 4 like real guys doing real things. So we had to figure out that timing.
I'm sure you can accommodate a little bit.
One of them ended up having to go auto draft because he just got a promotion, so he was off doing something that like nobody could get in touch with him.
More important than
if you know
football draft.
If you know what I mean, because those are things that happen. Again, our thanks to Spike Eskin for jumping on the fan guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. I am seeing numerous tweets and updates from Matt LaFleur's press conference. So let's get to it at the top of the noon hour. Matt LaFleur spoke to the media just a few minutes ago. We're going to play that back for you. We're going to do our whole like play it and then stop and comment on it and do all those sorts of things. Remember, after each hour of Middays with Thunder, we stop our stream on YouTube and then start a new stream right away. So if you are streaming on YouTube, or if you didn't even know we had a stream on YouTube, and I'm telling you something for the first time ever, that is great. At the Fan Milwaukee, you do need the @ sign. So it's youtube.com/@thefan Milwaukee. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Matt LaFleur's press conference coming up on Middays with Thunder.